I mean, what's changed when I got into computing, we would sell based on our functionality. So a particular user might have a requirement for a really fantastic sales ledger, and it might well be that this product had a really great sales ledger, but the purchase ledger wasn't quite as well developed. So
Right.
they would be choosing the products on that basis. And in fact, there's still a hangover from those days when you look at modern tenders. A lot of tender documents are very functionality based, but the reality is that in the last 30 odd years, all those finance products have matured, and they all do most of that functionality. They have to.
It's become more
So,
of a commodity.
well, yeah, absolutely. It's been commoditized. And therefore, what matters to a user becomes not can it do it, but how easy is it for it to do it. So things like the user interface and the usability start to have much more of an impact, as does things like the associated services that go with it. These are all the components that start to get the customer the actual benefit of one of these systems. But things have changed. And I think probably in the early days as well, Sage would have known that their users were running that piece of software on a PC that had a certain spec, and it wouldn't have coped with massive functionality. So they had to have a product for a small business that was geared to their knowledge of finance, but also the piece of hardware that they were probably running it on. Whereas now with cloud, I mean, if I look at our cloud, for example, it flexes in terms of
you can run everything off Amazon Web Servers and
it's a very different sort of environment that the software is running in, because the finance system basically just collects massive amounts of data. It automates certain processes, it speeds processes up, makes things easier, but mainly what it's doing is it's collecting data. Where I see my customers getting most value from the software is where we try and understand their business so that we can help them configure the software, which is very configurable, in the best way to match their business. What tends to happen is that customers, obviously, they don't know the new software. They know the last software they were using. They re-implement their business in the way that the old software used to work. And of course, the new software probably doesn't work in the same way. Oracle is a relational database. And although it brings out a lot of accountants in a cold sweat if you explain this to them, the data appears to be organized, but it's actually held in its separate component parts in the database in a great big soup.
big data bin.
Yeah, it is. And
Love it in there.
That's right. And what our software does is it presents that data in a way that looks like it's well organized. But because it's held at the bottom level, we can let customers change the way it's organized. So
you can manipulate it however you want.
And we call these things reporting structures, but they can build multiple reporting structures